Hello, everybody, and welcome to this staff session webinar. So obviously it's intended for everybody who is moving over to V2 and wants to learn how to use the system in V2. So hopefully we'll be able to put you up to date with this and put you up and running straight away. So we're going to be covering obviously several topics today. There have been some layout changes in terms of how the actual system differs from V1. So we'll be tackling all of those and exactly how you can get done what you need to get done every day. So in fact, just to begin, I am in fact going to start sharing my screen with you. And here we are. So you should be seeing my screen right now. And so as you can see, there's a bit of a different layout here. We'll be just tackling exactly how you're going to then be able to get done what you need to get done every day. So we're going to start, in fact, just with, this new order screen. Okay, we're going to be looking at the things that are on the screen that some of you will obviously recognize already, and some of you may not. So we will begin there. So in fact, you see here, obviously, we've got these new product icons. Makes your screen look a bit nicer as well. We've even got this button here where you can describe an item on the go if it's not already in your product list. We've got then the colors here, obviously also the fixed bars appearing here at the bottom too. We have the quick drop feature over here. If you're using that already, then you'll be able to do so at the bottom right-hand corner. You've also now got the note section over here where you will then be able to save those notes as well for future orders for that customer. So for instance, if I select customer Giuseppe here, I can then also, if I typed in something here, no starch, for example, I could save that preference for any future orders. And every time I then select Giuseppe, the no starch option would appear. I can also edit information for Giuseppe over here at the top as well, where there's the edit pencil. So if I wanted to change that around from here, I could as well. I could also apply a business to that customer, a price list to that customer from here, and essentially just change around any information that is going to be necessary for me to change. And then hit update afterwards once those changes are done. Now, the other thing is then you've also got the customer icon over here. So I can see the summary for the customer. You can look up their order history with you, any information about them. This is all displayed by clicking on that customer icon. And from here, you'll also be able to send an SMS and email to the customer too. So you can kind of have a direct communication line with that customer as well. And also, if I click over here, where there's this upwards facing arrow, we now have some more features of ours on in fact this separate screen. So you'll be able to see the order details here. You'll be able from here to apply whether it is a pickup or delivery order as well. And you also then have the ability to change around your default set notification method. So this should already have been set up by your admin. But if you ever needed to change it around for a specific order, if you usually notify by email and now, for example, somebody wants to not receive a notification or would prefer to be notified by SMS, well, in that case, you can just change that around from here. You can also then change around the ready by date from an order for an order from here as well. And again, this is also something that should have already been set up as a default. So if it usually takes you 2 days to process an order, that should have already been set up by your administrator. But in case there's some change that you need to make, you can also change around the date and the time from here. And you can also add photos to garments as well. This will also depend on whether your manager would like you to do things that way. But if you wanted to take a picture of an item and follow it to the end of the process, then you can also do so from here by clicking on the photos icon. On this section as well, you'll be able to apply other options as well. You can activate the retail option. You can pay for all of the orders that are outstanding for them from here as well. Activate that option. Retail orders, by the way, refers to the items that you're selling. So if you're selling soap, detergent, things of that nature, you can just enable this option here, so that it treats it like that order. So you don't obviously then have to have the order jump to the clean page and then jump to the ready page, as it would do for any other regular order that would include, for example, laundry or dry cleaning or alterations items. You could just have everything processed on the new order screen as it's a retail item and doesn't obviously have to go through the cleaning process. You just want to take the payment and deal with that transaction straight away. I can also then, in fact, apply the discount from here to an order if I want to. So if I get a total here, I can add, in fact, some details. So if I select, let's just go to default prices here. And by the way, this is also where I can change around the price list if I need to. But I'm just going to select 3 waistcoats. If I then go back to where we were, upwards facing arrow, and I wanted to change around the, I wanted to apply, a discount, I could type it in here, 20%. If you have some promo codes already added, again, this will be set up by your administrator, then you can also select a promo code as well, which would pretty much operate as this feature over here where I can type in the discount directly. So some of the promo codes would have already got a discount percentage assigned to them, but either way, you can also just type in the discount percentage here directly for that order. You can then apply the express option here. A lot of our US customers call this rush service, which is usually same-day service. And when you enable that, then that you're going to get the same-day service or rush service prices. So those would also have been set up already by your administrator. And when you activate that option, when you then go ahead and select the products, it will give you the correct pricing. Now, also, you might see on my screen that it's populated with a lot of these over here, which are, in fact, orders, which are currently standing in the clean section. And in fact, if I wanted to mark those off as cleaned all at once from this page, I could do so by just clicking here on Batch Clean. And same goes for these. These are all orders by the customer Giuseppe, which are currently on the Ready page. So it'll also tell you if that customer has any outstanding orders that are still waiting to be picked up. And if they are, then in that case, I can just enable the Batch Ready button over here, which would group all of them, and I can take a payment for them, for example, by card. And as you can see now, it says that they have been, in fact, completed. Those transactions have, in fact, been processed. So this is pretty much the, everything that most of what covers the new order screen. A lot of the other things you would recognize, but some of the information, as you can see, is now being displayed on this separate page. And whenever you are making the changes and you hit X, those changes are in fact going to be saved. But otherwise, in terms of how it all works, it is pretty much the same, just with obviously a slight difference in the display. Now, when an order is placed, then obviously it's going to go over to the clean page. So I could then go ahead and mark this order here by Luke. You'd obviously have the same rack location prompt as well. Could put, for example, 5A. And then I can then see that order on the ready page over here as well, where I'll then be going ahead and processing that order at the end of the process, where I can, for example, take payment, I give that order back to the customer. Now, there are, though, a couple of new things, in fact, on this clean and on this ready section. In particular, there are some reports. So now you'll see that at the top it says reports. And here I can select to clean report. And it's going to give me the days at which these items would be ready by, including the section they stem from. I can have a look at all of this here. You can print it, in fact, as well. And if I want to see the specifics, then I can see those from here as well. So I'll say shirt, duvet cover, trousers with the quantities indicated so that you know exactly which items require cleaning on that specific day. Also from here, I can then see the clean today and cleaned yesterday. If I click on clean today, I get to see all the orders that I've already processed for the day. And again, that can be printed. And I can also see those, for example, that were cleaned yesterday. And also those can be printed too. Now, same thing pretty much is the case for the ready page too. On the ready page, we've got the completed today, in fact, and these are all the orders that have been processed in their entirety. We can just close this after. We've also got this little search function now at the top, whereby you can, in fact, search from an order, no matter what section you're in. You could type in, for example, let's say we'll type in the name of a customer here. I'll put in Giuseppe, and it'll go ahead and highlight an order, and it'll move me, in fact, over to the ready page as well. So you can also use this feature to identify an order if you're not sure in which section it is. And we've also now got this inbox feature too. So if ever there is a customer that replies to an email or to an SMS that is sent out automatically, or in fact, if you just sent it out to them directly by the feature I showed to you beforehand, then you could see their responses here. So for example, these are some of the, this is a very good example. I could, for example, reply to this email and communicate with them directly there. I could also reply to an SMS, granted that your administrator has set that up too, in exactly the same way. So I just click on reply and do it from there. Now I'm also going to show you quickly, in fact, how you can, in fact, switch between accounts as well. But before we get to that, I'll show you just quickly, as we didn't go over that, we can just show you quickly how you're going to be able to take payment. So if I go here and I select, these are the items that were selected beforehand, the 3 waistcoats and the skirt. The payment option is over here. So it's just above the submit button. So you can just select the payment option, say pay by card, cash, check, or if they're going to be paying later, then pay on collection. And then I just click on submit, where I will also see the due date, the date at which is expected to be ready. And I can see that, in fact, before I even hit the submit button. So that's also an extra advantage you have here as well. Also on this page, if I ever needed to describe an item, I could do that as well. So for example, let's say there's an item is curtains, quantity 1, price 37. And I'd say I don't want to put any pieces, or so that's related to the tags that get printed. So I put this like this and submit, and an order can then get added to the basket, as you can see here. So it's a quick way to describe an item on the go. And then we've also got this barcode option if you're using heat seals. If you are, then get in touch with us. We'll be able to help you with that, as it has a slightly different workflow, which we won't be tackling in this session. However, just for a quick note, I suppose you can, though, from here, look up the barcode ID, so you can look up the history for a particular garment. Again, this is granted you are using already a heat seal workflow, so this is only specific to some of our users. So I'll show you now quickly how, in fact, then you can switch between accounts. So obviously you want everything to be registered under your own particular profile. And you should, in fact, already have your own email and password for your own login. But if you don't want anybody to have to log out and then you have to input your email and password to log in again, your administrator should have set up already a quick pin for you. And that would be, it would be possible to add that quick pin over here. So if I click on the initials on the top right-hand corner, and then here I just type in, let's say 1234 might be your quick pin. I switch user, and it moves me over to the next account, as you can see here. So yeah, you just want to put that, and then you'll be logged in. And once you are, then you might want to clock in for the beginning of your shift. And that'll give me the current time. And same goes at the end of the day, at the end of your shift, make sure to hit the clock out button as well. Now let's look, in fact, at the cash up. So that's the next stage. So if I go to cash up over here, here you just go ahead and hit all the quantities. You input the quantities. You'll be able to add notes to this cash up as well. And over here, you would have already inputted, for example, the after your first cash up, you would input the cash that you've left in the register over here, so that then at the beginning of the next day, you've already got that amount in your cash drawer. So you're indicating that over there. And whenever you have in fact submitted your first cash up by putting the cash left in register, then that starting cash is going to fill up automatically here for the next day for whoever then has to deal with the cash up. And then when I actually am ready, I can go ahead, or I could put even, for example, it says note something looks wrong. And when I go ahead and then submit this cash up, it is in fact under your own name. You've got the net cash over here, the amount left in register, notes, and you'll be able to print this out too. Now, also, what you'll be able to see, this depends on your permissions. So you might or might not have access to this. But if you do, then one thing you can do to check that the amount seems that the amount is correct is to make a comparison between the amount that you see here in the cash for the specific date and the amount that you've registered in the till for cash as well. So if you see that they are the same, then it's happy days. Everything seems to have gone correctly. If we see any discrepancy between the cash that you've registered and the amount that you've then had in the cash drawer, then there will be something wrong there, which you then might need to analyze again and contact your store manager to have a look into. Also, let's have a quick look at the metrics. This is again not going to be relevant to all of you, as this is going to be depending on the permissions that you have granted to you. But if you are able to see the metrics page, then one of the most common things is for businesses to print out a daily report. So for that, this is basically related to what we've got here as today's summary at the top. And if I in fact click on print, I can then just click, I can print that out and then leave that as the, to show the activity, the business activity for the day. So we advise you to do this. If already you are doing so, then great. And in fact, you can also look up a detailed report from here as well if you want to provide some more information, such as even orders cleaned, pieces cleaned, things of that nature, including also then payouts and stuff like that. So you can print this out too. You can either have the regular daily summary printed out or a more detailed report too. So it's up to your personal preference. Now, we touched upon this briefly before, but there is a slight difference between the let's say registering pickup orders in the new version, and that will be done by clicking on the upwards facing arrow in the bottom right corner and applying the pickup here. And if also we want to pre-schedule the delivery, we can do so from here as well. You would then just go ahead and select the date. You'd select the time. You can establish it as a repeat pickup as well, if this is happening every week or every 2 or every 3 or every 4 weeks. And we also now have the ability to establish repeat delivery dates. So if you don't want to have to input that yourselves, then you can also set up the repeat delivery date so that it happens every 3 days after that pickup happens. So if that pickup in this case is on a Monday, this would happen 3 days after, which would be on a Saturday. You need to just make sure, so for that first delivery order as well, that you make sure that the ready buy is scheduled for that Saturday if you've got the plus 3 days in this case. So make sure to enable that for the first order, input the time, and then you can go ahead and close this once you're done, and that will be saved, and then you can go ahead and process the order. Then it just follows the workflow as it always has done, where it then jumps over to pickups. You know the drill, where the driver app then goes and picks up those items, and then you would see them on the clean and on the clean page, where you then go ahead and process them as always. In fact, I'll give you a brief example of that. So I'm going to go for customer Giuseppe. Everything is established as we did before. Submit the order. It goes to pickups. Here we are. This is the order. Then I can mark that order as collected. But this should be done, in fact, by your driver. So you shouldn't really necessarily have to deal with this page, but that will depend on your specific workflow. Your driver would mark it, let's say, as collected, confirm the delivery time, and then you should see the order here in clean. So at that point, you just go ahead and process that order as necessary. When the order then lands on ready again, this should then appear on your driver's delivery list. If you see an order here as delivery, we recommend not marking it as delivered yourselves from the store. Every delivery order should be, in fact, marked by your driver via the driver app generally. I'll also show you quickly some other little difference that is about accessing the delivery printout. So usually that was done on the ready page beforehand, which you can still do on the ready page. You can go to ready, click on reports, and click on delivery printout. And if not, you can also access it now from the pickups page, where it's even clearer where it is. Go to pickups, click on delivery printout, and it appears here. Whether you access it from ready, whether you access it from pickups, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you get to see exactly the same delivery printout. Okay, that pretty much describes generally how the new version of the software works. So we hope to hear from you for feedback. If you have any more questions, please reach out to us. We are obviously here to help. We also do have some video tutorials which explain some of the things that you're going to need to do on the new version as well. So pretty much as we just did right now, we've got also a couple of videos if you find them necessary. But this webinar should have already detailed most of the steps that you need to do in terms of understanding and well, just operating really the system on the new version. So yeah, we're waiting for your feedback. Please let us know. You can contact support@clean.cloud. I'll repeat that again. So that's support@clean.cloud. And then we'll be able to get back to you from there. And either way, we hope that this transition is as smooth as possible. We hope that, in fact, you enjoy the look of the new software and also the features, some of those obviously described here in this webinar. And thank you again for your cooperation. Bye.